You
tired.
know.
And I'm
Or
recording.
the other thing is you can also leave when you need to and leave me to fill out the time. We've done that every once in a while.
We have. But
But hey,
it's not
Ben,
like I need to be someplace at 5. It's just that I have we're doing a show tonight where it's closing weekend of the current show Gold at Annex Theater, written by Marcus
yes.
Gorman, directed by Jasmine Joshua, starring 6 very lovely people.
If you
And I
are
gotta get
in
ready for that.
Seattle or planning on going to Seattle, why not go and see it?
This
Why
the
not?
show will have closed by the time this podcast drops, so you missed it.
Or else my signal has reached you in the ether and you're listening to this and you're like, oh, well, that's why I decided to do it. Paul told me to. It's possible. Hey, Ben, have you ever heard of Fruities?
I'm hoping that's a candy. It looks
It's a
like
slur, Ben.
like
No, it's a candy.
it's a watermelon candy
They
from
come in many different
Tootsie.
flavors, but I want you to look at how big
It's a
this bag is.
it's a very large bag. That would
And I want you to look at how small these candies are.
so that's a that looks just like a regular Tootsie Roll.
Oh, it is a regular Tootsie Roll. I've hidden a couple. There it is. Here it is.
There you go. That looks like a regular Tootsie Roll but with a different wrapper.
It's in a Tootsie Roll
Is it
wrapper.
is it narrower like in circumference than the
It's smaller.
traditional
It's
Tootsie Rolls?
smaller all the way.
Yeah.
Smaller all the way. And it looks
Smaller
like
all the
maybe Tootsie
way.
Roll Minis. Also, it is made by the Tootsie Company. And so what I've done is I've hidden some Tootsie Rolls in here, so I'm not just eating. Like psychologically, putting a few Tootsie Rolls in here is good. But
Do
here's the other thing.
you do
I'm
you
gonna
look
unwrap
before
this.
you eat, or are you do you let yourself be surprised?
The Tootsie Rolls are bigger. I'll always know which ones they
Oh
are.
yeah, you can
So
feel that.
this is how
Yeah.
big it is.
For those listening, you can't see this, but Paul is holding a pink piece of candy, vaguely Tootsie Roll shaped, to the camera.
Mm.
Kind of wish I
So
had. I don't have any candy. What I do have at my desk is a Satsuma,
mm.
a sumo Satsuma. That's what they're called, sumos, and they're like
Wow.
oranges with really loose skin that it's easy to peel.
Yeah.
Makes it easy to
And
peel,
so
which is
they're big Satsumas basically.
that's the barrier to entry when it comes to me eating oranges more
Do
than I
they all
do
have that
peel.
growth, or is that just particular to
Yeah,
that one?
it's like they were bred like scientists. Like how do we make this easy for people to just pop the skin off?
Because
So you just
you just
rip off the
tear out
top,
that, yeah,
yeah, and then I'm not going to eat it right now, but that's because
yeah.
my hands will get all sticky and I can't wash them while we're doing the show. So
Right, exactly. I get it. No, that's cool. So anyway, I went to a grocery store and they had all
sumo
different flavors
mandarins,
of those fruities, right? And I was
yeah,
like, okay, I can do one of two things. I could buy like multiple bags of these. They were $8 a piece, the bags were. And buy multiple bags of these and mix them together, or I could just buy one flavor. And I decided to buy one flavor. And when I'm choosing what one flavor I wanted to eat, watermelon was the one that I was like,
had
I
you
could
had
stick
that
with this.
before, or did you just assume that you would enjoy the watermelon flavor?
I had not had watermelon. I had had fruities before.
Okay.
I don't think I've had a watermelon one, but I knew kind of what I was in for, and I was like, I could not eat an entire bag of these mango fruities and
It's
feel good about it.
it's funny that like I like Tootsie Rolls, right? But
Yeah,
I and on Halloween you can find those differently flavored Tootsie Rolls. They are Tootsie Roll
yep,
branded. They're not fruities. So there's like
right.
green and
Mhm.
yellow and white, which is the vanilla type, which I kind of tend to really
Yeah,
avoid. But I only see these during Halloween. I don't know if I've ever seen these outside of the fall. Like they're only a fall flavor.
interesting.
I
I have,
also haven't looked, so that's on me.
yeah, I have picked up some when it wasn't Halloween. Occasionally, that blue wrapper that they use for the vanilla hides
Yeah.
a blueberry one
Oh,
or
I haven't
something of
come
that
across
name,
that yet.
which isn't is the vanilla one is cool because it's kind of different. It sort of shakes it up a little bit. Again, I'm big into I guess candy shaking up other candy for some reason, but.
Let's disrupt the candy field.
Exactly. So, for those of you who are not watching the stream, Ben, I think I've shown you already. This is my new kind of uniform. I'm always wearing
I
this
think
shirt
I think
or this kind of shirt.
we're a good juxtaposition right now because you've got a tank, essentially a tank top on. I'm wearing my heavy winter coat and
Yep.
like fingerless gloves at my desk at the theater because it's cold in here.
Yeah,
I
and
even have I've got a space heater right here that's been on all day, so my left hip is really toasty. The rest of me is still
so
chilled.
my gas bill has been about $300 a month,
Ouch.
uh, which, we're heating the entire house, right? And I'm sure that we could have it lower, but
By closing the dang doors when you leave a room, dang it.
I have to say, when I was in Seattle, our electricity bill during the winter months was like $800
Oh my
a
God.
month. Yeah, so it was crazy.
That can't be
And
that's gotta be
gas,
illegal, man.
gas and electricity together here is about 400,
This is at
which is
the
still a lot, but
this is at the Beacon Hill house was the $800 gas bill.
yeah,
God damn.
it wasn't always $800. Sometimes it was 600,
Right.
but
That's
around
still a
eight
lot
hundred
though.
dollars.
I mean, come on.
It is too
It's just
much.
slightly less than the rent.
Um, half the rent.
Yeah. Which is still like not nothing.
Yeah. So
Boy,
I'm
your rent
happy to
for
be
that house
here.
is less than what my rent for my apartment is right now.
Yeah, I know it's crazy.
That's
Um,
bonkers.
my mortgage for this house is more than my rent for the house in Edwardsville, which makes sense,
Yeah.
but less than your rent for your apartment.
Yeah. No, I live in
So
the last I heard this statistic, I didn't verify it, but I trust its source. The eighth most expensive city in the world,
I believe it. Yeah.
Seattle, Washington. And I live
Um,
basically in the dense urban downtown in an apartment building that is, I think, is part of the class action lawsuit. The management company is at least because of price fixing. Have you heard about this?
no.
A bunch of
Have you heard about
property,
this? Have you heard?
bunch
Hey.
of property managers. I know they're doing this in Seattle, but I think it's cities all over. Are coordinating with each other and using an algorithm to determine what rents should be. So you don't like when you go to an apartment and you're
Yeah.
looking at like what market rate is. Well, it's steadily getting increasing more and more and more and more, like
Yeah.
artificially because all the property managers are like, we need to make more money. Let's charge more for these apartments. Everybody charges more for those apartments because they can see what these people are charging for those apartments. The rents just go up,
Yeah.
and that's the story of Jesus.
Lincoln Logs in my sock drawer. Hey, about
That's weird.
oh God, who was it? Who was it that reminded me of Bill Hicks? There's a guy that I saw just recently, and I'm
Like
like,
a
this
stand-up
guy
comedian on
could.
TV.
Yeah, he was a guy on TV, and I don't remember who it was, but I was like, this guy could be. Oh, you know what I think it was.
The modern day Bill Hicks.
No, it's kind of worse. Uh, I was watching Alex Jones uh,
Explain
talking
yourself.
to somebody, and I was like, oh my gosh, Bill Hicks could have done an amazing Alex Jones impression. That's what came to my mind. It's like, oh wow, he could have done an amazing Alex. They were contemporaries for a little bit.
What year did Bill Hicks pass away?
It was right around when Alex Jones started getting really pop. I'm kidding.
Was it before 9/11? Do you think?
Oh man, I
Do you
don't
think Bill Hicks would have
remember.
do you think he would have pulled a Dennis Miller? I don't
You
know.
know,
I don't
okay.
think so, but
I
I think that's
am
plausible.
I am thinking, okay, so I look at there's as of right now, there is there is that sort of popular among the right leaning people, but I still like them thing that some
Oh,
people have. Um, and that what's that?
he died in 94.
94. Okay. So, yes, way before 9/11.
Yeah.
Um, who am I thinking of? Oh, we talk about this already? Billy Corrigan and Bill Burr and all. Did we talk about this?
Don't know, but I know that they were both on the Howie Mandel podcast, and like
Yeah.
Howie Mandel was like not being nice to Billy Corgan or something. I
Okay.
only All I know is
So
that there was a
this
video
is
posted to YouTube where Bill Burr is on the Rich Eisen show, and he like eviscerates Howie Mandel's treatment of Billy Corgan. But I didn't watch it. I don't know what's going on.
so here's what happened. So Billy Corrigan was on the Howie Mandel show, and in it he mentioned that his mom, and when I say his mom, I mean Billy Corrigan's mom,
Yeah,
said that
Mother
it's
Corgan.
possible that Bill Burr was the illegitimate son of Billy Corrigan's dad. And
Like
so,
for real, or was she joking
yeah,
around?
we don't know. We don't.
Okay,
Here's This is the story that Billy Corrigan told Howie Mandel.
gotcha.
So
When he
you
was
have
on
to
the show
think,
with Bill Burr,
yeah,
presumably.
no,
Okay. Well,
before he
four.
was on the show with Bill Burr.
Ah,
This is what happened. Then Howie Mandel gets Bill Burr on his show and brings in Billy Corrigan without telling
Bill Burr,
Bill
this is
Burr
your life.
that Billy Corrigan's coming in. That's the idea. Again, this is the story that unfolds on the show. That
Yeah,
Bill Burr didn't know that Billy Corrigan was going to be there.
gotcha.
They have this meeting. Now, it is interesting that they are kind of similar. And then he leaves, right? Howie Mandel leaves, and the two of them are talking. Now, there's a friend of mine who is convinced that because when Howie Mandel leaves, the two of them are talking about this guy. Like, well, let's talk about dad
Possible father.
and
Yeah,
this kind of thing. But the thing, and he's like, they're you could tell that they're brothers and that their dad lied to everybody. Is what my friend says. But if you watch the show prior to the one that they were both on, the implication that Billy Corrigan has is that, because he says, and I looked up Bill Burr, it said these are who his parents are and everything like that, so I figured that we're probably not related.
yeah.
The idea being that Billy Corrigan saw a guy who was Bill Burr's dad who wasn't Billy Corrigan's dad. Because Billy Corrigan, I don't know how much you know about him and his dad. They were
I
estranged for
know
a while. They got
nothing.
back together and played on stage a couple of times because his dad was also a musician, etc. So they
Cool.
had a pretty good relationship.
Okay.
Bill Burr's dad, Bill Burr has talked about him like on the Moth and during his stand-up acts and stuff like that every once in a while. And the concept is that when he describes him, his dad is a guy who was around, right, and married to his mom and stuff like that. So either the story is that Billy Corrigan's dad and Bill Burr's dad are the same guy, and he's leading this incredibly intricate double life, which is what this friend of mine said he thinks is going on, or more plausible, uh, Bill Burr may be the illegitimate son of this dad that Billy Corrigan has, but when they met on the Howie Mandel show, Bill Burr was going along with the idea that it was the same person and making jokes because all of his jokes were like he told us that he was a dentist, stuff like that. So he's making a joke like they're the same guy. But Billy Corrigan didn't have that same story when he was talking about it. So, in my opinion, it's either one, they aren't brothers, and this is just them doing a bit
Yeah.
for the thing, or, Bill Burr didn't really cotton to what was going on,
It
but
can't
he
be.
did
I mean,
seem mad was the thing.
he strikes me as somebody who doesn't like being ambushed,
Yes.
on a podcast. I don't know if the Howie Mandel podcast is like this one live streamed live, and but I that still can be, yeah. Bill Burr strikes me as somebody who he that wouldn't sit well with him.
Right. So the question is, was he really ambushed, or, and this is the thing that, like, when we were having this conversation,
Was it all a plot? Was it all
well,
planned?
or is it just a thing where, like, if you and I were in an interview situation and somebody said, Ben, I hear that you and Paul used to sell chocolate to pay for your sketches, and I start going, yeah, well, there are places that allow you to sell chocolate to do fundraising. Normally they do it for schools and things, but there's nothing to say that you can't do it as a
Yeah.
performance art
You don't have
duo.
to be a licensed 501c3 or anything.
So, I mean, for a lot of it, our friend Stephen McCandless bought most of it, and that's just because he's a really good guy. But then we
Mostly I
would
just had to
sell
keep
it,
Paul from
actually.
eating all the chocolate.
I mean, this is true. That kind of thing. And then
Yeah.
somebody listens to that and they go, well, obviously Ben and Paul, and then all of a sudden all these stories come out. Ben Lawrence and Paul Goody sold chocolate for their performance art thing, and
Yeah.
it becomes true even though it isn't. That's my thought. People hate it when I do it, but I still do it. Hey guys, we don't know if this is true or not. This is just a news story. We don't know what really happened. Um, and there are two ways that this can happen, right? You can end up sounding like a QAnon person saying, well, this is just a news story. We don't know what really happened. The news media lies to you. Or you can say, all I know is what this story told me. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that it's false. I'm just saying that I'm not going to extrapolate any more, than that. So, as an example, there are things that are happening in the world, Ben, and I'm sure that you know about it. Um,
Against my best tries, I am kind of paying attention.
so I actually have been told by my therapist that what I should do, so that I'm not doom scrolling, etc., is to
Yeah.
just look at the news once in the morning. This is
Yeah.
my news time. I'm reading the news at this point. I'm only paying attention to these things, which is, been working pretty well. The only thing is that, and I think we've talked about this before, during the first go round of this administration in 2016, it was easy to stay off the news and then never really hear, like, you could avoid, this thing, right? The problem is that, you know, and I'm sure that you're like this as well. People who know people who are affected by whatever the new things are, right?
Yeah. 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 It's
So
hitting closer to
the
home these days.
the fork in the road memo that got sent out to federal employees saying, "Hey, you can go ahead and say that you're not going to work anymore. You can do this deferred retirement, or not retirement, resignation thing.
Yeah.
Just reply to this email with the word resign and you'll start this thing," right? So I know people who are doing this thing, right? Then they're
Yeah.
talking about how they're afraid that, lots of the people who are doing it are, like, career employees. They've been federal workers for a long time. This is, I mean, and this is the plan, right? This is sort of what they're doing. getting rid of people who have been in government for a long time, the deep state, as one might call it. And so they're like, yeah, I'm gonna take my I'm gonna take this severance and I'm gonna go do a career change, whatever. And then you show them the thing about how, well, when they did the same thing over at Twitter, a lot of people didn't get their packages, and there was a $500 million lawsuit, and it got Elon Musk got the judgment that he didn't have to pay it. Is there a chance that they're doing the same thing? Many people have noted that federal government, uh, when it comes to money and things like that, all things being equal, has to like pass budgets and stuff, and people in the Congress, I believe it's called, have to figure out where the money's going. You can't, the executive branch doesn't decide what gets funded and what doesn't.
Tell that
Anyway,
to them, though. I mean, you and I know
yeah,
the rules, but the people in charge don't seem to.
well, yeah, and
I don't know.
that's one of
I
the other
saw
things.
some
Yeah,
like
go
two
ahead.
things. I saw like this email went out to about 2 million federal workers. And again, these are the numbers I saw, I think, doom scrolling this morning. This email went out
Yeah,
to 2 million federal workers. 20,000 federal workers took him up on that. That's a 0.01% open rate, which is about average for like a solicitation email, which I thought was kind of
yeah.
funny. And also that I don't know if it's the president himself or the government who are like, no, 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 you actually can't resign. That well, I don't know if it's because like we need you, or if this was because this was not an approved, more likely not an approved email or method of submitting your resignation.
Hmm. So I didn't hear that part. That's interesting. Saying that you can't do it. I heard that a federal judge might have blocked something about it as well.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That was
Stories are scattershot regarding federal judges who are blocking like certain executive orders that have been signed. For instance, there's a federal judge here in Washington State that blocked the executive order getting rid of birthright citizenship.
hey.
Because actually, that
All
is in
right.
the Constitution. You can't just executive order that away.
As far as we know. And this is the thing about
They're going to
pre-compliance,
try to
right?
they're like the Raptors testing parts of the fence to see where the weak points
Exactly.
are.
That's right. It's only illegal if they don't let you do it, basically, is what
Jesus,
somebody said, which I think is nice.
it's not a dumb idea if it works.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the other thing that I mean I actually said this to Jennifer. I was like, well, now he's going to think that he can do it. The tariffs with Mexico and Canada,
Yeah,
right? The
yeah,
idea that, well, here we go, we're going to trade war. Oh no, they've capitulated to the
and that capitulation being we're just going to continue doing what they were always doing that
yeah,
Biden negotiated, and Trump's just going to take that as a win,
haha, you did it.
which is
The
amazing.
thing that, yeah, exactly. Uh, Not exactly the kid saying to the people that are bullying him, keep hitting me, you're doing what I want you to. Um, but,
I could do
sort
this
of.
all day.
Yeah. So, oh, hey, speaking of, well, not really, but sort of, Fantastic Four, Ben, did you see
I did the teaser trailer with
yep,
Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic.
yeah. And
Evan Moss
yeah,
Backrack as the Thing, as Ben
I was
Grimm.
going to say that is what I was more interested in.
Yeah.
Uh, it's the first time that a film version of The Thing matches kind of what I think The Thing is.
Well, see, here's the thing. The one bit of feedback I saw about the trailer was that the
Sorry,
person.
I made a little joke when you said here's the thing. Other people can't see it, but go ahead. Sorry.
That should be the name of this show. Actually, is the
Yeah.
here's the thing part. Anyway, um, The one bit of feedback I heard about the depictions of the thing is that he should be like 7 feet tall, but he's only as tall as Evan Moss Backrack is. Like he's or
Hmm.
not so like 9 feet tall, however tall the thing actually is, in the comics, right? But the one thing that I noticed, like in this teaser trailer, he's like tasting soup. He's like being like a foodie, and
Yeah.
I had to ask Cole, who is familiar with the source material. I'm like, is Ben Grimm like a foodie in the comics, or is this like a sly nod to Evan Moss Backrack's role on The Bear? And Cole's
My
like, it's a sly
understanding,
nod. All outside of clobbering, Ben Grimm is just interested in poker and blackjack.
my
Not po-
understanding, and I
Is
was
like
I was going to
drinking
say the
and
wrong
poker.
thing,
That's what it was.
and Cole would know more than me on this. I do take that, but I thought that Ben Grimm was more nuanced than that. I thought that he was a secret sweetie at some points, and I think Cole would back me up on that. That he is a like they do occasionally have Ben Grimm have some other interests that you don't know
So,
about.
so here's my question though. Fantastic Four famously they have never made a good Fantastic Four movie,
Yep.
and as if you watch them in order, starting with the Roger Corman, we're just making this movie so we can keep the rights to it through the
Yeah.
latest one. If you watch them in order, each previous movie looks better in comparison to the next one in the sequence, right?
Yeah.
Do
This
you
breaks the
think
cycle, I think.
do you think this will break that cycle?
I believe it will. I really do. I really do think it will. However, there is a controversy. Ben going to guess in the news. What is the controversy about the
Oh God.
promotional materials for
Ah.
Fantastic Four?
Some people were thinking that the image was AI generated,
The image certainly does have the telltale marks of an
and it's
AI generated image.
probably going to come out that it's just a bad Photoshop by a marketing guy at
Well,
Marvel or Sony or
this
whoever owns the
is
rights.
this is the thing is that regardless of what it is, the fact that it made it all the way to the page of Marvel
Yeah.
without that being noticed and or fixed is a little crazy.
I see. I didn't look at the image very closely. I don't know actually why people think it's AI generated. That's all I know is that some
Yeah.
fans on fan sites were claiming this, and it became a
Well,
thing.
I can tell you it's the hands look bad. There's
Did they
also a
not
guy
have
with a
hands?
camera. The hands did not have the right number of fingers, or the fingers looked weird.
Is this just in the promotional image, the one like
Yeah,
picture where there's
yeah.
just the four of them are standing on,
No,
this
no,
like
no, no. It's
thing?
the picture where there's a crowd scene, and
Okay.
the crowd is "We are for you," or
I don't think I
"We
saw that.
for
I only
you."
saw the other like this like movie poster like image
Yeah, there's a
where it was
there's
just the four
another
of them.
there's another
All right.
image,
I'll have to look that one up.
and like there's a guy, he's holding a camera, but he's not holding the camera in a way that would make sense to hold a camera.
I mean,
There,
it's possible that he was just nervous on set and forgot how to
no,
use his
no,
hands.
you if you saw it, Ben, you'd I really do think that
All
you'd
right. I'll look it up. I'll look it up.
yeah, it's worth looking at. Here's I've gotten to here's where I am with AI right now. So most of my friends
Oh,
are
that picture. Okay.
yeah, most of my friends are okay. Look at there's a hand holding a
There,
flag
yeah.
that only has three fingers on the hand.
No, I see four fingers on this end. I see how
Okay,
many?
you're
Okay,
looking
so
at a
there's
different one.
oh, there's like five flags in this picture. Come on.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
there's one in the upper corner. It looks like there's three fingers. I can't see it any bigger. It looks like there's only three fingers on this end, but it's possible that what, it doesn't even yeah, I would say if this wasn't AI generated, this is definitely a composition. Like a
Like a photo bashing.
yeah. because
Okay.
there's a weird background that looks like you have like one, two, three, four, five actual people in front of like a mural of other people.
And
Right?
so
If you look at
yeah,
the background is just like all like desaturated and flat. I
yeah.
wish I
So
could see
if
this
you
better.
okay, so let's look at. Oh, now that's interesting. Okay, there we go. All right, so you see the woman holding the camera,
Yeah.
right? You see the hand right above her where she's holding the camera.
Yeah, that's the one where it looks like there's three fingers, but I can see an instance where it like one of the fingers is hidden, right? Like
Which one? Where would you
maybe
think?
what looks like his index finger on the top might actually be his middle finger, and his hand is tilted in such a way. Maybe he's holding the flag like this. Maybe his index finger is actually on the back side of the flag. Like
Yeah,
this is
if
the
you zoom in,
flagpole,
it's
right? And
not.
he's holding it. So you see you don't see my you see that,
Yeah,
right?
if you look at it though, that's not what's happening. Oh, I've become insufferable again. I'm sorry, Ben.
You have.
Sorry.
I can see a
Uh,
world in which that happens. But I'm not saying this isn't AI generated. It is a terrible, like, stylized photo,
well,
though.
they're saying that it's not. That's their. But if you look at okay, you look at the man holding the camera.
Yeah.
It looks like he's holding his nose up to the viewfinder.
Uh
The man with the
yeah,
glasses.
I see what you're looking at. I mean,
Yeah,
again,
not
if
as
this were an actual picture, he might have been lifting the camera up to his face or lowering the camera away from it. Again, I'm just saying there's a world in which this isn't AI generated and stuff happens that we don't see, but because AI is the new boogeyman, every time something weird happens people just automatically scream it's AI.
yeah, sure. Uh, Marvel is saying that it
i don't
didn't.
I don't believe you when you say that.
Oh no, I what you were witnessing is again why we don't look stuff up on this. I got drawn in. I was looking at it, saying that. But yeah, Marvel is saying nope, nope, they're not doing it. But all I can, I'm moving the page out of my line of sight. Um,
Steven just joined us. He says, what's going on with the world's best podcast? Hey, Steven.
hey, Stephen, the world's best podcast is, of course, BigSoftTitty.png. Right now, Tom and Demi are putting out at least 2 episodes a week, which is great. Demi is depressed.
Steven says it's a hell of a time to be a dude with an extra finger, or
Or a
four
missing
fingers
finger.
instead of five.
I don't know about you, Ben,
Yeah,
but
maybe
I've
this
got
guy
four
was like an
fingers.
amputee, and now he's like, man, I
Oh my God.
still bothers me that I lost my finger in the war. Now everybody's saying
But
I'm
now I have to
fake.
deal with this as well. Yeah. I don't know. It is weird. It is weird that they say that. I will say this is what I'll say is that still should have someone should have caught in this day and age they should have caught that it looked like AI even if that it wasn't.
I mean, so here's the thing. That picture looks like it could have been like a panel in a comic. It doesn't look like it's an actual comic panel, but it's composed in a way that I can see. Maybe they found
Yeah.
a panel in one of the Fantastic Four comics and tried to recreate that stylistically, you know?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. We keep saying here's the thing and I love it. I can't stop. Um
Can't stop, won't stop.
the eventually the studios will use AI more and more for composition and things like that. And it's just something that's going to end up happening.
Yeah.
The only difference is it's not going to have those problems once it gets fixed. Yes, I am looking at it again. Okay, I'm going to stop. I pulled it up again to look at it while I was talking. So I
Steven
stopped.
says they
So
make finger
Steven,
prosthetics now, so you can appear to be an AI generated image.
yep. But I'm already feeling that. I'm already thinking that's we've talked about this, Ben. There's a good chance that our world as it exists is a simulation based on this very podcast. Notice how
I
things
was
that we talk about on the podcast keep happening?
I was
Uh,
explaining the concept of our podcast to our other listener, Catherine.
mm.
I was talking about this show to a few of us hung out here at the theater on Monday night. Um, and Yolanda, who's a new staff member, a company member at the theater, wants to meet you because I can sell you really well, and like
Oh,
you should meet my
nice.
friend Paul. Um, but I was explaining the whole like we are living in a simulation based solely on the fact that our podcast is the only surviving podcast, and this is what what these simulators use to recreate the world.
Yeah. And which is why, of course, you are living your life from the Ben perspective, and I'm living my life from the Paul perspective, because it's the two ones that we have, except for Stephen, who is, kind of, how is it? Stephen is like the Easter egg. Like when you find out you get to play as Stephen, it's incredible.
We've unlocked Steven for this episode.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, Chicago's still good, Stephen. I really like it. the there isn't a lot to do um, when it's this cold, but I have found kind of like there was a problem living here in the exact place where I'm living because there wasn't like a place to go do stuff. And what I mean by that is that I could go to the and Ben and I have done this. Ben when he was visiting here, I can go to the Red Line, take the Red Line to
Basically
Chinatown,
anywhere
hang
you
out at
want.
Chinatown, take it
Yeah.
downtown, all that. It's great. But if I don't have any money for transport, there's no real place to go and do anything. And it's still sort of like that, but at least now I've found out there's a Walgreens within walking distance where I could go and like get something at Walgreens and
Hang out
have
at the
that
Walgreens.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there's if I turn down and walk a little bit further, there's a place where I can walk to like in 15 minutes and order takeout. Uh, there's a grocery store that isn't like big, but it is walkable. So I now
Yeah.
know kind of where the place is at where I can
Yeah,
be.
you're exploring your neighborhood. That's great.
Exactly.
I
And
we
because
were talking earlier about how I live downtown, but it sucks because the rent's so expensive. But like I don't have any food at my house because I'm hardly ever there anymore, and I'm terrible at meal planning. So for breakfast the other day, I just walked down to the Dahlia Bakery and got a I got a what was essentially a fancy egg McMuffin that cost $14 plus tip.
$14 including tip or $14 and then also tip.
$14 plus a tip on top of that. So it was like 15, 16. I don't remember exactly how much it was. I've become numb
It would
to how
probably
much I
be
spend on
17
food.
if you were doing 20%, which is of course still the good guy tip amount.
Yeah.
I have found that DoorDash it's more than 20% as the good guy tip amount for the DoorDash drivers. But especially it being winter here in Chicago, anyone who is like I'll actually walk out to their
I,
cars to pick up the food so
yeah.
they don't have to get out.
I generally tend not to use those services if I don't want to drive in this weather, I generally don't like
That's
order
the
food
only
from somebody
reason
who's also
why
driving. Yeah.
that's the only reason
Plus
why
I
I
can walk
would do it.
wherever I need. Um
Yeah.
so
But yeah, I
Steve wants to know what kind of takeout you get when you would that you found close to your house.
okay, so there's a couple of different things. Tacos mostly. Uh takeout. I'm sorry. I thought he meant what was delivering. No, takeout close to where I live. It's this place called the S. Crazy but true. S2 Grill. It's called S2.
S2.
Annex heads know about it. Uh, remember that? Way,
Yeah.
way, way back when?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that
called.
was the main stage when we did Naked Ladies as a late night.
Yep, it's called the S2 Grill, and yeah, they have
S2 Brute?
anything you want to eat. They have it. Have I ever actually gotten takeout there? No, but I know that it exists. How good is it? How would I know? But that's the place. It's 15-minute walking distance from where I'm at. If I wanted to walk 15 minutes the other way, I could go to Burger King, but why bother? Um,
Because
and
it's
that's the thing.
flame broiled?
And the little neighborhood area, kind of next to where we got the red line,
Yeah.
that's where I thought the place to be was going to be. And I was like, man, they should have at least a coffee shop here. There should be at least one thing. Uh, but it's because I need to go the other direction to 130, and then it's fine. There's a place called Magic Barbecue that is apparently pretty good, that I've never been to, and that's in that same area as well. But there's like a Dunkin' Donuts. There's like, there's stuff. There's stuff there.
I went to a Shake Shack the other day. There's a Shake Shack down
Ooh,
in
Shake Shack
South
is
Lake
good.
Union. I've lived in this neighborhood for a little over 3 years now. I've not been to this Shake Shack. The only other Shake Shack I've ever been to was in Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, when I went to an Astros game there once. Um, this is one of those new places where you don't talk to somebody to order. There are these
Uh
screens,
huh.
and you just put in your order. And that's where you pay to,
Hmm.
and you give them your phone number, and they'll text you when when your food's ready. And so it's also like there's no servers, and we as as a customer base are accustomed to tipping servers and not tipping cooks. Like there's
Yeah.
some weird delineation. I've never worked in the restaurant industry. The one time I did do like an acting gig where there was tipping involved, there like it was like split in a certain way. Like a certain people got I don't know about the cooks, but student performers got different percentages based on what they did in terms of setting up and tearing down the tables. So at the Shake Shack, when I was like, do you want to, and it started at like, 20, 25, 35% tip. I'm like, I'm doing all the work. I'm
Yeah.
not anti-tip. I think if you need tips to survive, I'll tip you. But like, what's what's the protocol here? If like it's a self-checkout burger joint essentially.
Now here's an interesting thing. The Shake Shack that we went to, me and Jennifer, um, there were servers. You had a number that you would take to your table, and then they'd bring your food out whenever it was done.
Yeah,
Kind
no,
of
they didn't even
crazy.
do that. I got a text and I went up to the counter. The bag of food was right there. So somebody put the food together, put it in a bag, and then like texted me.
Yeah.
So there was
It's like
human people did that.
it's like the
Human
automat,
people.
except human people. Hey, look, someday. Well, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's going to get turned around. I was going to someday we are going to have to differentiate between human people and AI people, but maybe not.
Well,
I don't
there you
know.
go. Human people and robot people.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I got something I got to talk to you about after the podcast. I don't talk about
Ah,
work. What's
the
going
special
on?
post-show
Hey.
Patreon exclusive. We don't have a Patreon, so if it exists, something has gone
Yeah.
horribly wrong.
Now, is there a way to keep? There isn't really to keep Steven around uh, after the
Like
show
recreate him?
because
Oh,
yeah,
he can join the Zoom if you want, if he's cool with that. I
yeah.
can
I don't
send
know.
him the link. Steven, let me know if you want to like join the call after we're done broadcasting, so Paul can talk to you.
Or heck, beforehand. Even though I don't know what'll happen with his audio if he would do that beforehand.
It's just
And it's not
Zoom. It'll
a
be fine.
yeah, it's not a big deal. I just want to cover a couple of things that I don't want to talk about on the podcast.
So you don't want to talk about it, but
Uh,
you want Steven to talk about it?
well, I want to talk about it with you and Steven.
Okay.
Um, okay, so well, here I'll tell you a little, at least a little bit, but then I'll get into the details more later. So, Jennifer's going to be going on a trip for a little bit,
Okay.
and because of that, I'm going to be by myself with Betty, so
with
not
Betty?
exactly by myself, but
Yeah.
yeah, for 2 weeks, maybe longer. And
Okay.
so we're like trying to be humans and live properly during that time. Jennifer does a lot to make sure that we're
Yes. She's
well,
the
you've been
glue
there.
what holds what keeps the people alive.
Exactly, yeah. So it should be interesting during this time. So I just wanted to touch base on that because I think it's a there are features of that that are interesting that I'm not talking about here because it's
Yeah, I
not
get it.
me, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah. I
Um,
follow.
Everything's fine, also, in case anybody's worried. Um, but yeah, just a little thing to talk about. Let's see. We have um, here's something that I wanted to talk to you about: encoding of files
Oh
and
God.
frame rates, etc.
Yeah.
So a
It's
friend
a
of
thing I
mine
should know things about.
and I both have the Criterion channel. His TV has an app for the Criterion channel. My TV doesn't.
Yeah.
And the problem that he has with the Criterion app is that it plays at a frame rate of 24 frames per second, whereas his TV is 230 or 23.9 frames per second, something like that, which makes the
2398.
films that he watches on it stutter occasionally.
That's that's stutter. I don't know what stutter means, but
Or
he
it
doesn't.
makes it weird. Like the rate, like it'll like maybe buffer or a frame will get dropped or something.
It shouldn't if you're only like zero point zero 0.02 frames off, unless there's some sort of weird like buffering thing the app is doing behind the scenes that like preloads the file but doesn't play it seamlessly during playback. I don't know. I know nothing about
So
that.
this is the crazy thing. Um, I do not have the Criterion app. I
Yeah.
have the web. I go to the web, and then I go to the website on my TV, and then I watch it
You
from
go to
their
the
website
website
on my
on
TV.
your TV has a web browser.
It does, and I go to the Criterion channel,
TVs these days, man.
and I watch the videos there, and the videos uh, that I watch that way, they're fine.
Yeah.
You know me. I'm doing this. I'm part of this is because when I was saying it, it sounded like I was crazy and not myself anymore. But watching these classic movies through a web browser on a TV, they look fine,
I mean, I
which
don't like
is
we've talked about motion smoothing
yeah.
before. You know, we don't need to rehash all that. I This guy's TV and app are probably I don't know something. That sounds like a hardware issue, maybe. I don't know.
Well, it started, I mean, this whole thing started out when we were complaining about motion smoothing in general.
Yeah,
And it was basically, when you go over to somebody's house, if they've got motion smoothing on, talk to them about it
I
because
have
they may
to.
not understand
If you
how to
see
turn it
something,
on.
say something. Exactly.
Yeah.
I I my sister and brother-in-law have this huge TV in their TV room, and their house is like this open office,
Yeah.
open concept thing. So you can, look at you can see basically the entire TV when you're sitting at the kitchen table, but the TV is downstairs and it's a split level. Anyway, I don't need to get into the exact layout, but the only time I'm ever over there is like during holidays when sports are on, right?
Uh-huh.
So when you're watching like football, motion smoothing doesn't really, it actually makes the game look better, you know?
Oh,
But
speaking of which,
but
aren't
when
there
you're
sports
watching
happening?
but when I'm over there and let's say there's a movie has being shown
Yeah.
and I can see that they got motion smoothing on, it's really hard for me to go up to my brother and be like, look, you have to do two things. You gotta like when you watch sports, you can turn the motion smoothing on, but when you watch Elf, which is like the only movie I've ever seen over there because they watch it every Christmas, you have to turn that motion smoothing up because the film stock looks the movie looks like crap.
Yeah.
I don't feel
And
like
have we
I
talked
like
about
I, it's your TV, you do what you want.
have we talked about why that is? Is it just because we're used to 24 frames per second, or is there something more?
Well, I mean, it's called the soap opera effect, right? Because
Right.
when, soap operas were filmed, uh they weren't filmed with film, they were filmed for television. And so you
Yep.
have it looks and soap operas not considered a high form of art compared to like something you'd see Martin Scorsese direct in the theater, which is at a different frame rate. So
Yeah.
our perceptions of what qualifies like good art is kind of linked to the frame rate.
I wonder if there's anyone that could break that out and make a high frame rate thing. I think Peter Jackson tried with The Hobbit,
Sounds like
I
something
want to
Christopher
say.
Nolan would do too.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Worth a shot. Could you imagine a film that looks like the nature things that they have on the TVs in Best Buy to show off the like a film where everything is shot that oh, you know who else? You know who would do it and probably fail? James Cameron. I could see that. That Avatar. They're probably you know what, Ben? I bet you. I bet you look it up. I bet you there's a cut of Avatar
Is there a
that's
60 frame per second cut of
60 frame per
Avatar?
second. Yeah, probably 60 frame per second IMAX for no reason. Ah, now
Steven's
I'm
left.
mad all of a sudden. Okay. Anything? Did he say anything before he left? Anything else?
Well, he had some comments that I didn't mention because they're kind of lengthy, but one of them was switching to AI generation will destroy the studios. As soon as it's possible to create content at scale that is roughly the quality of a movie today, the market will be flooded with them, and there will be no way to promote one over the other. The same way Taylor Swift is a more valuable brand than a combined 100 other artists with 100 the following.
Yeah, exactly. So,
It was a
I
mouthful, so I
mean,
didn't
this
really
is.
want to I didn't really
I
interrupt
mean,
the
the big thing
flow.
also is, I mean, the thing that's going to happen, and this is why Ben just get on my soapbox. I laid this all out in angry notes to people back when I was still over on Midjourney. I'm like, here's what's going to happen. They're going to use artists as a way to make copyrighted thing for AI, and then they're going to stop people from doing stuff at home because if you could make a movie, a 2 hour movie on your computer at home with everything that you want in it, then you're never going to buy their movies, right? Because you'll just sit at home
And
and generate
unless you
your
want to
own
be
thing.
surprised by film, or unless you don't want to actually be in control of everything all the time. Steven's still here, by
Well,
the way. It was apparently YouTube lied to me on the
Okay.
back
Well,
end.
this is actually Taika Waititi, I think, is the one who said this, which is they don't know what they want until I give it to them, which
Sounds like something he would say.
sounds like something he would say, and is true. I mean, you've got a good
Yeah.
point that people will still watch other stuff, maybe. This is the thing I'm thinking about is that when you in the mid when I was in the Midjourney forums and I was talking to people about what they use AI for, most of the people weren't using it for anything. They weren't using it for projects. They weren't using it for. They were
They're just
just
having fun with
making
it.
pictures and looking at pictures that they were making, and that's
Yeah.
all they would do. And if you could do that for videos and stuff like that, I think that you would. And when I say you, I mean you, Ben. That's right. No.
Apparently, I can run my own LLM locally. Steven just told me.
Yep, you can. Uh, you can also um, run. Oh, what is it? The am I thinking? I'm not thinking of LLM. Steven will probably know what this is. When you,
A
because
small language
LLM
model.
is large. No, 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 no. I'm thinking of where you train. Is it a LoRa? LORA? Where you train an
L-O-R-A, Laura.
image generation on a small subset of images. Like I did when I made
Yeah.
an image generator that would just make me. Anytime that you typed in man, it would be a picture of me. It was great. I loved it. And
Apparently, people are running DeepSeek on what are basically high-end consumer PCs or low-end bit mining rigs. I read that they spent like
yeah,
1 point something billion dollars to buy what was like 550 or 500 NVIDIA GPUs. It seemed like a
who did?
large number for a smaller number, DeepSeek, for a
Oh, okay.
small number of GPUs, but I guess these NVIDIA rigs are like pricey.
So one thing, this is something that I'd be interested in hearing Steven's thoughts on as well. I ran the same prompts, the exact same prompts in ChatGPT and DeepSeek, and they were almost identical. The responses that I got was really interesting. I would think that they might be at least a little bit different, but almost everything that they said, like into this paragraph
To the
says this
word?
paragraph says this,
Yeah.
not to the word. It was different variations. Imagine, if you will, a middle schooler taking somebody else's essay and just rewriting it a little bit.
Or a
That's what
game
it
of AI telephone.
exactly. Hey, I telephone. Uh,
Oi!
exactly. So I don't know.
There's a
It's
there's a I saw a project. Somebody is doing a film version of Telephone in town where they're doing almost exactly what we did about 20 years ago.
interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I didn't see the rules. I said that you have to create your own video based on the previous video. But I didn't see like if you were only allowed to watch it once or twice or whatever, you know.
What did we do? We had you were you allowed to watch it twice, or were you only allowed to watch it
I
once? Do you
think we
remember?
I think so we brought it to the next filmmaker,
Because
and I think we let them
yes,
watch it like 3 times because it was
but
only
but
like a minute long, right?
but we were in control of it, and we said, okay, you can
Yeah,
watch it.
yeah. We, in fact,
Yeah,
I think we had your little like Sony Handycam, and they only
yeah,
saw it on the little tiny, little
yeah.
tiny eye monitor there.
That was nice. That was fun. I'm glad that we did that. Okay, so we're getting close to the end
Rend setting. We have
of
about 3 minutes left, I guess.
of this podcast. Yeah, I started a little bit sooner than you, because I started it while I was recording, if you
Yeah.
remember.
Yep.
Um, so we can stop in 1 minute, and maybe we should. So Ben,
Are you anxious to
uh,
get
well,
offline?
no, you said that you had to leave close to 5,
Oh no,
so
no, I
I'm
don't
trying
know.
to be respectful of
I'm not gonna go anywhere.
your
No,
time. Okay, all right. So yeah, no, I don't know. There are many things going around. Like I said, I got stuff to talk about.
the
That's the other thing, is I
norovirus.
do want to talk to you about the
Yeah.
stuff that
Yeah.
that I can't talk about. So
Hmm.
yeah. I'll tell you what. Why don't we call it? I think we did a good show. I think
Okay.
everybody likes us, and we're good dudes. So,
In that case,
how's it happening? Keep it wrong,
keep it wrong,
and I will
Paul.